Hello everyone, I'm Rainbow Rat, and I have something different today. As you may know, if you have followed my channel before, or if you're new, I will be telling you this. I am a trans non-binary person. And today, I got the idea, why don't I take some Am I Trans quizzes to see if they can figure it out or not. And for context, I'm a very feminine trans mask person. So I have no idea if some of these quizzes will end up figuring me out correctly or not. But I thought it'd be interesting, so let's try. This is the first one that came up. Am I Trans quiz. Do you ever feel like you were born in the wrong gender? That, despite your body, you really are the opposite gender to what you appear. You might be one of the estimated 1.3 million people in the world who experiences this. This initiative is for people who feel like they have been born into the wrong body, and where appearance doesn't match internal gender identity. It is also for anyone thinking about or just exploring their trans identity. This is not a trick or a trap, it's only a simple quiz to see if you might be genderqueer, gender fluid, transgender, a crossdresser, etc. Whether you identify with one of these labels or another, this quiz is here to help you find your way and to show you how to accept yourself for who you are. Sure. Let's start with the first question. What kind of activities and toys did you enjoy as a child? It's not asking me what my gender assigned at birth was. So, did I enjoy most? Honestly, like all four of these first ones, but I'm gonna go with books because I'm a nerd. Do you tend to have more close friends of the opposite gender than of your own? Yes, indeed. Somehow, I am very good at meeting new people, but bad at keeping them as friends. Used to, I tended to feel more comfortable around the opposite sex, and made them friends more easily. No one who is neither my same sex nor the other sex has ever been a close buddy of mine. Loner vibes. Okay, so this one says gender, but this one says sex, so I'm gonna go with sex since this is a transgender quiz. Currently, no. As a child, yes. So I guess the opposite gender thing did work out. I'm good at meeting new people. Bad at keeping them. Who do you like to date? Women only, or everyone's welcome in my heart. Well, you see, the thing is, gay people exist. One second. Gay men exist. So sure. What sex do you identify as? Male, female, both, neither, all of the above. I'm gonna say neither. Do you ever feel like you were born in the wrong body? Yes. See, that's the thing. If I answered this when I was younger, I definitely would have said yes. But now I'm more small, yes. Do you ever wish your gender was different than what it is now? Going back when I was younger, absolutely. Now, not, because I know what my gender is, but I'm gonna go with, like, the yes. Have you ever felt uncomfortable with your body or wished that it were different? Oh, yeah, all the time. I've gotten better with it since I started transitioning. And even a little bit before then, but yes. Have you ever wished that you could be a different gender than what you are now? So you already asked this one. Have you ever felt like being a gender... Have you ever felt like your gender was holding back from being who you truly are? No. Does your gender identity change from day to day or even hour to hour? Much less often. I kind of, Should be coming around soon, the gender census. I'll have to do a video on it, but it's kind of a yearly thing that I do to reflect. And there's usually small changes between the years, but nowhere near as close as what this is implying, because that's the question asking if you're gender fluid. How do people react when they see you in public with your partner? They see us as a different thing, not weird. Their stress levels through the roof. Who cares? It's just us holding hands. Just normal. Who cares? You get nervous when you're in a room full of people who don't share your gender identity. No? Do you feel like it's important to come out to everyone right away, or do you wait until it feels right? No intention of coming out to anyone. I wouldn't say I come out to people so much. It is safe for someone to come out. If it is safe for someone to come out, I personally think they should. I actually came out to some people even though they were super supportive. I almost wish I hadn't. I feel not exactly the same. I think I personally am a very out and proud person, but I think it is up to each individual to share when and if they ever want to, both sexuality and specific gender things or transgender status. There are a few instances where I think that someone should come out, that, like, they should come out. Otherwise, I think it's up to the person when and if they want to. Not exactly. None of these are really saying that, though, because, like, I am fine with myself. I don't think everyone should, though. Not exactly the same. I mean, I could say this one, I guess. I guess that one. Do you feel more comfortable when someone uses masculine pronouns when referring to you, or feminine pronouns? I tend to prefer neutral pronouns, but between these two options, masculine. What would a world look like without gender? I think it depends. I think there would be a lot of differences in this case, and it really depends on how technologically advanced your societies are. It's a construct we apply this, and we need them. The existence of biological differences would cause different associations to build up and eventually become a new set of gender norms. All I know is it'd be a better place. Same as now, just weirder. I think it'd be better. What is your first memory of learning about gender? Stay in and play with the other boys. I remember wearing my mom's shoes and her lingerie. I looked in the mirror and wanted my chest to stay flat forever. My sister's friends painted my nails. None of these. I knew. I'd say as a kid, like, I knew about gender, and I was a very feminine kid. Like, wouldn't say I was a tomboy. I really had no issues with it. I started to feel uncomfortable when puberty started setting in, but I didn't equate that uncomfortableness with dysphoria until one time when I was at Pizza Hut, and the server called me sir, and I was like, oh, actually, I like that. And then I went and had a crisis for like 3 years, and now look at me. I'd say this one, I guess, though, because ever since I did start growing breasts, I had like recurring dreams of just like cutting them off. So I guess that one would be the most accurate. I forget about that some of these things aren't normal until I mention it, think of it, and I'm like, you know what? No, I don't think most people who went through puberty and got breasts went and had dreams about cutting them off, like, regularly. You know? How do you feel that the LGBT community are represented in film and TV? Depends. I've seen some good depictions, some really bad ones, and a lot of mediocre, lacking ones. Getting better, but still not the best. There aren't many LGBT characters on TV, but it's growing, and I'm happy with that. Gay men are a bit overrepresented. Lesbian women are more abundant and fetishized. Bisexual guys are almost non-existent. I'd say this one. There's some really good representation, and there's some really bad, and there's a lot that's kind of just there because the shows want to push to be like, we're awesome and supportive, and it's like, are you though? Are you? Not always. I believe that LGBT people deserve the same rights as any other human beings, but nothing more or less. Yeah. I think that, yeah, but currently I think they need more protections because there's so much stuff going against them, there's so many hate crimes, and people trying to pass laws to take away their rights. I mean, what is it, like Oklahoma or something? They're trying to pass a bill that would detransition all, like, stop all trans people from transitioning. If not, yeah. So I think in the perfect world, we would have the same rights as everyone else and not need more rights. I mean, I don't think getting protections is more rights, but I feel like that's what this question is implying. So I'd say agree. You have a strong desire to be physically transformed into the opposite sex. I mean, yeah. I have a strong desire to be transitioned, but I don't know about the opposite sex, more somewhere like in between, but you know. If a person is born with both male and female reproductive organs, such as ovaries and penis, that person can be considered as transgender. I'm going to put the keyword here as can be. Some intersex people don't want to be considered part of the trans community, and some intersex people do want to be considered part of the trans community. And I think that if they choose to be part of it, if they choose to identify as part of it, then we should open them with we should welcome them with open arms. And if they don't want to, then they don't have to. So I'm gonna go with this can be, and I would put yes. How attractive are you for people of your sex? I'm not an attractive person. I'm not an attractive person, but I know people have been attracted to me, so I will put that. Who do you want to date more than anyone else? One who is the same sex. See, this dating has nothing to do with if you're trans. Sexuality and transness are different things. A person can be gay and cis, or gay and trans, or straight and trans, or straight and cis. Any other sexuality with any configuration of genderness. This has nothing to do with transgenderness. One of the same sex as you, someone of the opposite sex, any person, either someone of the same sex or someone that belongs to the opposite sex, or both. Nobody. Any, I guess. Security and trust are two of the most important characteristics of a relationship to establish before sex. Yeah. Have you ever considered hormone therapy or surgery to change your sex? Well, I've been on testosterone for over 2 years, so I'm gonna say yes. Do you feel more comfortable wearing clothes traditionally worn by the opposite sex than your own gender's clothes? See, the thing is, when I was a little baby trans, I pretty much purged all of my, like, female, my dresses, all my, like, really hyper feminine clothes, because I was uncomfortable wearing those, and this was even before I came out. I started doing this purge of them. But now that I've been on T for so long, I've started, like, going back into my feminine, like, gaining touch with my feminine side again, because I feel like my body is masculine enough that I can let myself express my gender femininely. So now I would say no, because I enjoy wearing feminine clothes in a masculine way. It's so weird to explain. It's hard to explain. I'm saying neutral, because transsexual. A person who identifies as a different gender than one assigned at birth and has undergone medical treatment, hormones, and or surgery to change their physical appearance in order to match their gender identity. This word is outdated and considered offensive by many people in the transgender community because it implies being transgender is a type of mental illness or medical condition rather than an inherent part of someone's identity. It is important we use language that doesn't pathologize or invalidate trans experiences. No matter what your sexual identity, be proud of yourself and your love. Love is love and everyone deserves to feel loved. This isn't about love. This is about gender. But, yeah, fair enough. So that one got me right. But now, we'll go Quizondo. Am I trans? Simple quiz, a simple test will reveal the truth. Why do you need to take up the Am I Trans quiz? Gender means how a person feels on the inside and how they wish to express themselves to the outside world. Sex denotes the biological features derived from factors like genes from the previous generation. Gender is more or less relating to the attributes of the person. It is noted that there are about 72 types of gender identities in the world. That you cannot put a number on the amount of gender identities in the world because every single person experiences their gender differently. Even people who, like, a cis woman, two cis women will not have the exact same experience of their gender. To trans women, to cis men, trans men, any non-binary person. No one has the exact same experience of their gender, and some people will choose to put a label on their different experience. Some people will choose to put different labels on the same or a similar experience, and some people will choose the same label and have wildly different experiences with how they feel. So I would say that you can never put a number on the amount of gender identities in the world, because that number would just end up being the amount of people in the world, honestly. Because everyone experiences their gender differently than each other. We just don't talk about it enough. And it's hard to describe the intricacies of this subject. The Am I Trans quiz is a perfect personality test to check if you can identify with one of them or your true sexuality. A lot of awareness is being created on gender sensitization and how to create a world that is inclusive for all kinds of genders, considering humanity's factor. You can take this Am I Trans quiz to know whether you are trans or not. Start quiz. What kind of toys, games? This is the same, okay, different answers. What kind of toys/games did you like in your childhood? It didn't ask what my gender assigned at birth is. So, even going by stereotypes, it can't say, unless it's assuming that everyone takes this quiz, was AFAB or AMAB. But honestly, I loved dolls as a kid. I had a lot of Littlest Pet Shops. I had some Barbies. Monster High dolls. I collected I don't think I collected them. I collected Littlest Pet Shops and Squinkies. Oh, God. Your friends are mostly the same sex as you, or the opposite. Well, I guess same. That's kind of close to the last quiz. You see a parking space, but you have to drive backwards, and the parking space is quite narrow. What would you do? This is going off the stereotype that gay people can't drive. And as a queer person who does not have my license, no, absolutely not. I only pull through. Yeah. What movie or series did you like to watch the most? Adventure, action, historical, drama, romances, horror, thriller. Currently, I like horror, thriller. Do you like the most? Okay. I'd say horror, thriller out of those. Which of these words describes you best? Creative, nice, modest, mean, introverted, or open? I'd say creative. What name would you like to be called by? Masculine, feminine, unisex. I like my current name. I'm gonna go with unisex then, because it doesn't know what I'm already, yeah, but yeah. Do you often fantasize about being a different gender? All the time, obviously. Yeah, we'll go all the time. Has anyone ever mistaken your gender? Yeah, it happened a few times. So I kind of go in now by what it was whenever I started to think I was trans. If you had the choice to change your gender, how would you do that without second thought? Obviously. Do you like clothes that are typically made for the opposite gender? Yes, then I feel like me. Dress doesn't matter to me. No, I've never done that. No, but I could try. I'd say this one currently. Do you accept your birth name? No, I did change it. Have you noticed that you behave differently from people of your gender and age? I'm completely different. More serious, don't see much difference. No, we're not different. I was pretty different in school. I don't see many people my age in my current work environment. But I'd say the ones I do know my age now, even the ones my age that I work with, I'm pretty different from. And I don't mean that I'm not like the other girls' way, just fundamentally from the way that I am. But that's more of a brain thing than a trans thing. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you had a different gender? Almost every day, I think about it every now and then. Thought of it a few times, I don't think about it at all. Every now and then, I'd say. Even though that kind of contradicts another question in this. Currently in a relationship. Never been in a relationship. I'd say no. Currently. You're trans! Congrats, you figured me out. It seems like you're trans. Discovering yourself is a tedious process that takes time. If you're still unsure about your orientation or gender, perhaps you'd like to try other quizzes in this category. Okay. This one got me right. Let's try marriage.com in my trans quiz. Gender means how a person feels on the inside and how they wish to express themselves to the outside world. Each individual has their own personality that makes them unique. This personality is developed during childhood and follows them for the rest of their life. Personality is the internalized responses to the surrounding people, objects, feelings, actions, surroundings, etc. My Trans quiz is a perfect personality test to check if you can identify with... Wait. This is exactly the same as the other one I just read, wasn't it? Yeah, this is exactly the same as the other one I read. Oops. There we go. How do you typically describe yourself? Introverted, modest, or nice? Those are not... Those aren't, Okay. Sure. Whatever you say there, kiddo. When you have a disagreement with the person, how do you react? I pretend nothing happened to smooth out the tense atmosphere. I'm trying to find the root of the problem. I am trying to discern if one side or the other is responsible for it. Why are these the same? And also, what does this have to do with transness? I don't know. That one, I guess. When you were a kid, what kind of toys or games did you like? Fucking dolls. Shut up. These aren't... What the hell? This is the same quiz. This is literally the same quiz, except they made it 3 answers each. Have you ever been called the wrong pronoun? Yes. Yes. Friends supposed to the same or opposite? This is the same thing! Do you change your gender given the opportunity? This is the same thing. Dress doesn't matter to me. Do you use a different name than the one you were given at birth? Yes. You're not trans. We get it, folks. I'm cis now. According to your answers, you're not trans. We're surprised because you seem so clearly cut out for it. Maybe it was just the surroundings that made you think you were trans. If we've learned anything from transgenders, it's that they're all different. They're all snowflakes. We think your main obstacle is your hesitation about rejection by feminists and sex-negative viewpoints of sexuality and gender expression. What? What the fuck is this? Okay, let's go. Some people feel uncomfortable, gender assigned at birth, mentally feel closer to the opposite sex. And my trans quiz. How likely it is you are transgender. This test is recommended for people who have reached the age of 18. Describe people whose inner feeling of their gender does not coincide with the gender they were assigned at birth. Transgender and gay people are different concepts. Transgender people can have any sexual orientation. Some transgender people undergo surgery and hormone therapy. Some refuse such dramatic changes for various reasons. Please be skeptical about the test results, and in no case take them as medical recommendations or advice of any other kind. This gender identity test is intended for educational purposes only. I have thought about gender reassignment surgery. Yes. My life would be better if I was born a human of the opposite sex. Well, that's just most likely correct, because men just, or people who are born male just tend to have it easier, especially around the area where I live. But, I guess, yeah. Child preferred toys and activities typical for children of the opposite sex. No, I didn't. I have dreams in which I appear as a person of the opposite sex. Yes. In my dreams, I tend to have the ideal body that I'd actually want. People of the opposite sex have more social advantages. Yes, generally speaking. This is a very non-intersectional way to look at things, but I'm just going to go off that. It gives me pleasure to look at, like, a person of the opposite sex wearing makeup clothes, having... You're just assuming that I'm born male, then. wearing makeup, clothes, and having a corresponding hairstyle when no one sees me. Not pleasure, but like not in the sexual way, just pleasure in general. And also, I don't care if no one sees me. I'd rather. See, the thing is actually that I do tend to dress more feminine when I'm not around other people, because when I'm by myself, I don't have to live up to society's expectations of what my gender should be and what I, as a transgender person, should look like as a transmasc person. When I'm by myself, I can just exist however I want, experiment with what makes me feel comfortable. So actually, this kind of stuff would be a yes then, even though specifically the opposite sex. It's this. I know that they're just going for like the very basic like baby trans person who just needs some validation. But like it's such a limited viewpoint to the overall umbrella of trans experiences. I've appeared in public as a person of the opposite sex. Yes, quite often actually. I have a feeling that I've been assigned the wrong gender at birth. My sex life would be better if I was born a person of the opposite sex. I guess, yeah. I would like to be able to specify a different gender in my personal documents, yeah. Okay. Oh, there's more. Make an effort to meet others' expectations associated with my gender. I was gonna say, I appreciate this one, because so far it hasn't been conflating terms of sex and gender, because I know when I'm taking this quiz, that since it's intended for people who are questioning, when it says gender, it's still talking about assigned sex at birth, but it just doesn't work with me as someone who is already transitioned and already is comfortable in my gender. No. But I don't make an effort to meet anyone's expectations of my gender. Usually. I don't like the look of my genitals. Yes, but does anyone actually like the look of their genitals? Is that, like, cis people, please answer me. Like, is that a thing? Because I don't feel like that's a thing. I feel like that's fake. I would like others to treat me as they treat people of the opposite sex. I mean, I guess. Yes. I often get upset or depressed when I think about my future without changing my biological sex. Yes, I was extremely depressed before I started transitioning medically. My family pressures me to make my behavior fit my biological sex. No. They've never put pressure on me to behave in any certain way regarding my gender or sex. I have little in common with other representatives of my biological sex. Yeah, I guess. I have taken or I'm planning to take hormonal drugs to change my body composition. Yes. I don't like my name. Sometimes I'd like to change it. Yes. Society does not support and accept transgender people enough. Well, that's true. I already talked earlier about the trying to pass laws to forcibly detransition all trans people and also to ban trans people and drag performers and regular actors, honestly. Okay, I'm back. My cat turned off my computer again. But, luckily, it saved my progress. I'd like to be able to specify a different gender in my personal documents, yes. I don't remember what I was talking about. I'm not comfortable going to the public restroom for the gender I have been assigned at birth. Really? I'm more comfortable going into that restroom than I am the men's room. Well, it depends. In public, generally, I use the men's restroom, except for specifically at my place of work, because we have tiny bathrooms, and the men's room only has one stall, and the women's room has 2 stalls. So the odds are that I will get a stall that is both clean and not currently in use are better than the women's stall, and I don't have time to wait around for the men's room when I'm at work. Secondly, the people at my workplace are really transphobic, like the guys. Before I came out, I definitely heard them making a bunch of jokes about trans people, so I don't want to be in the bathroom and have one of them there, because that's scary. I'm not comfortable going to but I always try to make sure that there's no women in the bathroom, or at least no women that I don't know personally in the bathroom whenever I use it. But also, like, it's a bathroom. I just need to piss, come on. I'm not comfortable going to a public restroom, And I'd say no. I feel strange or embarrassed when people talk about me using pronouns suitable for my biological sex. I feel strange. I feel less embarrassed now. In online games, I choose characters of the opposite sex. I can choose the character. Do I usually choose men? I feel like any game where I could choose the character, I tend to choose the most non-human character. I'll go yes, I guess. I don't know. My parents treated me like a child of the opposite sex. No? They just treated me like a child. They didn't really... I was raised by a single parent. No, I like to use the manners of people of the opposite sex. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Everyone should have manners. I don't know what... No, I guess? I don't know. The chances that you are transgender are pretty high. The test result indicates a high tendency towards self-identification as a person of the opposite sex. There's no online test that can give 100% reliable results. Well, good job, you got it right. Well, I'll get right. Answer this, people. If you're a boy and you transition to a girl and you date a girl, are you a lesbian or straight? You're a lesbian. Because you're a girl who is dating a girl. Well, that is a sapphic relationship. Just because you're dating a girl doesn't mean you're a lesbian. Because you could be bi or pan or a lot of other things. Fair enough. Okay, so that one was right. The other ones... Am I transgender? Do you struggle with your own gender identity? You're not alone. Let's work through some of your questions together. On this page, you will find a quiz that will help you answer a handful of gender-related questions. Frequently asked questions and content others in similar situations have found helpful. 3-minute quiz. Okay, this one, finally, is asking what I was assigned at birth. We are 5 quizzes in, and finally we have a quiz that actually asked about which one we were assigned at birth. Okay, this is having a great start for actually being helpful and most accurate. I don't even know how the other ones were grading these. Which gender do you believe is yours? Again, this is helping us get accurate results. I'd say closer to male. If everyone referred to you as female, how would you feel? I would hate it. Do you believe that you are transgender? Definitely. Oh, wait. I identify as non-binary. That is also transgender. I'm gonna hit that one. That's concerning. That's a different option than transgender, because being non-binary is inherently a transgender experience. Some non-binary people do not choose to identify as transgender, and personally that's up to them. How they choose to identify doesn't affect me, but you cannot deny that being non-binary is a transgender experience. Not every transgender person is non-binary, obviously, but it is not a cis experience. Do you ever experience gender dysphoria, the feeling your internal gender does not match the physical sex? See, this definition of gender dysphoria is strange. There used to be this huge debate in the trans community, especially among trans masculine people. But you may or may not have heard of this part of history, the two cutes versus the true scum. Shocker, as a person with green hair and pronouns, I was always on the too cute side. Which isn't much of a flex. I am fine with people who were part of the true scum side as long as they've, understood how they were wrong and moved past it. But the main difference I noticed in these arguments was just how people, described, the main difference was how people, defined the term gender dysphoria. Because the two cutes were saying that you don't need to have gender dysphoria to be trans, and that dysphoria is not an inherent, wall to gate to transgenderism. I know that's not a word. I'm reclaiming it from the transphobes. And then the True Scum were arguing that every trans person must have dysphoria or else they're not trans, or they're transgenders or whatever. The main difference I saw, because I wasn't always, like, there were a lot of times where I stepped back. I wasn't often being right in there debating everyone. The main difference I saw was that two cutes, who believed that you didn't have to have gender dysphoria to be considered trans, that it was not inherent to the trans experience, were defining it with the medical definition that was, like, it was an extreme discomfort between your, like, physical sex, your physical body, and your internal gender identity. And it had because that was the definition in the DSM. To get diagnosed with gender dysphoria, it had to be extreme. It had to be, like, debilitating, basically. And so, two cutes were like, hey, not every trans person debilitatingly, like, hates their body or feels this. A lot of us also will just experience euphoria, which is, that we feel better, like, we feel more happy with this thing, and we feel kind of neutral about this thing. Which, I believe, I don't think that everyone must have dysphoria with that definition. Then the True Scum, usually their definition, I say usually because some of them did also go with that definition, and those people were usually a little bit worse about it. But generally they believed that dysphoria was just any disconnect between your internal gender and your external body as the way that it naturally formed. And I'd say most trans people do have that disconnect. I still wouldn't argue that you need it to be trans, because, as I said earlier, every single person experiences their gender differently, and I do not know every single person. I do not know what's going on inside of every single person's head. I cannot even claim to know better than anyone else on what is happening in their head and in their mind and in their body. So, and I don't think there's any issue with people who don't feel that they have dysphoria identifying as trans. I think it is a personal decision, and I don't think that they're hurting anyone by doing so. But me, rant aside, me personally, all the time, baby, I chop them off, baby. Are you considering surgery to permanently transition? Of course. If you could change your gender from male to female or female to male without any problems, but could never change it back, would you? I might. But also I feel like even if my body, like, poof switched to male, I still feel like I would not, that I still feel like I would end up either doing hormones or getting surgery to get to a middle ground. I don't feel like I want a 100% perfectly male body. I don't think I would feel comfortable with that either. I'm not sure because I won't experience that, but I believe that would be so. What kind of name would you like to be called by? Unisex. Looks like you might be transgender. You are considering transitioning, but this decision is up to you. If you're in need of help, find an array of professionals linked below. Oh, I like that they link the professionals. But, yes. Advice from a transgender woman. Don't be afraid to try new things. Yes. Wow. Can a transgender person ever find love? Oh, cool. Good job. That's nice. I don't know who this Casey Blake is, but I like her. She seems like a cool person. I might have time for one or two more quizzes, if I can exist. In my trans quiz, Friday trivia. Knowing your gender is paramount in your self-development and happiness. But what if you don't know what your gender is? What if you feel trapped inside your body and think that the traditional binary genders don't apply to you? This is where our Am I Trans quiz comes in handy. Have you ever tried on the clothes with the opposite gender? All the time, baby. How do people describe you? Strong, funny, crazy, helpful, chill, or polite? Chill, I guess. My life would be better if I was born a member of the opposite sex. I mean, yeah. Biggest fear. Being alone, not being successful, failing at school, speaking in front of an audience, spiders. I mean, who isn't scared? I guess being alone. Have you ever appeared in the public as a member of the opposite gender? Yes. If you could choose to do anything for a day, what would it be? Traveling, hiking, working out, playing video games, being on the beach. What does this have to do with being trans? I'm gonna say video games, because I like hiking, but I don't like it that much. Have you ever wondered what your name would be if you had a different gender? Yes, I even chose one. Wow. Do you feel comfortable when alone? Yeah. Do you feel like you don't fit into your body? Yes, I feel like it's sometimes more comfortable in the body with an opposite gender. I feel like that, but not with the opposite gender. T, obviously. And not the hormonal kind. Are you familiar with the LGBTQ+ movement? Follow it enthusiastically. Gay rights. Yeah, get that shit. What is your weakness? Enthusiasm, self-esteem, patience, honesty, creativity. My weakness, something I'm bad at, self-esteem, baby. I am a terrible person. Have you ever felt odd about going to a public bathroom? Every single time, I hate it. What are your hobbies? Watching Netflix, playing a sport, shopping, traveling, reading, sleeping. Reading is more of a hobby than sleeping. Do you have an active lifestyle? Absolutely the fuck not. Who knows you best? Mom, boy, best friend, dad. Nobody really knows me. Definitely best friend. But that's not a lot of options. If presented with the opportunity, would you have a sex change? I would have a sex change. I wouldn't say completely the other way, though. Favorite way to starting the day? Take coffee. Good morning text from your crush. Healthy breakfast, oversleeping, watching Netflix. I would say this one, I guess. How often do you lie to people? So there's a funny story of how I found out that I'm a pathological liar. I'm kidding, I'm not a pathological liar. But I work at a grocery store, and so there's this old guy that comes in often. And he came in the other day, like a week ago. And he was like, "Are you Irish, Sonny?" And I'm like, "No." And I am. I mean, he meant it in like the obvious American ancestry where they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm like, back like 5 generations there were Irish people in my family, so I'm Irish." Not really. So technically I was correct, because I'm not Irish, I'm American. But genetically speaking, part of my family does come from Ireland. So I said no. Without even thinking. Just completely lied straight to his face. And then he was like, "Then you're not allowed to have green hair for St. Patrick's Day." And I was like, what the fuck? Sometimes. I wouldn't say I lie often, though. I don't like lying too much. If you could choose, where would you live? Sweden an option? Out of these, I think Japan seems like a cool place, but they don't have great laws regarding transgender people. I think, don't you have to like be sterilized before you can legally change your gender? Absolutely the fuck not. Turf Island, absolutely not. I don't know much about what's going on in France or Australia or Germany, honestly. Actually, no, not Germany. I'm thinking more of Poland. They have a lot of issues currently with their conservative parties. Instead of parties, I don't know if it's party or parties. Most places don't have a 2-party system like the US. But Germany's also close there, and I don't know how Germany is doing. So I'm gonna say Australia, because I don't speak French. You're trans. That's it. Let's see, what's this one? Are you transgender or dysphoria test? We'll do one more. You are. This doesn't seem too long. No, this will be fine. We'll do this one and then I'll be done. You are uncomfortable with your body. Often. Uncomfortable when people refer to you as your birth gender. Always. Are you a fairy? I want to be a fairy. You just like clothing typically meant for your assigned gender. See, I like if they at least say it like this, that makes more sense. Barely. You avoid wearing swimwear that makes you show off your body. Absolutely. I love swimming, but I hate swimming. You prefer the company of people of the opposite sex. Not really. I mean, sometimes I don't hang out with any people though. You prefer wearing clothes that hide your natural body shape. Often. But that's more of a thing of being like, oh no, shoot, what'd I do? That's more of a thing of being just a chubby person. In a very fat-phobic society. I'm not fat, I'm definitely chubby. But the way society sees people in body size, they would consider me. There are people that would consider me fat, which is strange because I'm not that big. Growing up, you prefer toys and activities typically for the opposite gender. Rarely. You avoid looking in mirrors. Yes, but that's because sometimes. I like looking at myself in the mirror sometimes. Especially since I've been transitioning, because I look in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, beard. Like, ooh, I got a beard. I'm like, ooh, my mustache is starting to be visible. Don't ask why I made that voice. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You find yourself questioning your gender. Often, I guess. You're more confident and comfortable in clothes typically worn by the opposite gender. Men's clothes are just comfy, honestly. You often feel down or depressed due to your identity. Rare? No. I don't feel depressed anymore. I guess originally I probably did, but you felt restricted by gender ideologies. Really, yeah. You find happiness when you imagine yourself with the body parts of a different gender. Often. I like how it just says with the body parts and not with the body of. When tests ask your gender, you select your non-biological one. Always. You prefer to shop in the clothing section of the opposite gender. Often. You feel frustrated with your assigned gender. Yes. You feel like your assigned gender. You feel trapped in your own body. Sometimes, but I've really put effort into mentally not feeling trapped in my body for a while, because when I first started figuring out that I was trans, it was very easy to fall into this hole of feeling trapped in your body and then getting really down and depressed about it. But as the years have passed on, and I know like it'll take a while before I can get surgery or anything because it's expensive and I'm poor, I've put in the mental efforts that I can accept my body more while still acknowledging that I don't like being in it, and I can't, and that I do want it to change. But I've put effort into accepting that this is my body for now, and that I can feel alright with it enough to just survive for now, and even like it sometimes. Not enough for me to actually keep it, but, you know. When playing a game, you pick characters of the opposite gender. Often. You cry about not being born as a different gender. No. You think of yourself as a gender that differs from the one you were assigned at birth. Yes. You wish you were a different gender than the one you were assigned. Yes. You've never truly felt like the gender you were assigned. Yes. You are comfortable presenting as the gender you were assigned at birth. No. You can tolerate and or like the idea of presenting as your birth gender. No. 86% trans. 4% not trans. Cool, you are transgender. You do not identify with your birth gender and mentally see yourself as the opposite gender. You would be more comfortable using pronouns and even altering your body to match the gender in your mind. That is all that I'm gonna have for today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I hope that I've transed some people. I'm kidding. No. I really appreciate that only one of these quizzes said that I'm not trans. You know, sucks to suck, I guess. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!